Welcome back. This is the Whisky Couch in Pretoria, South Africa. My name is Gustav Muller and today I'm doing whiskey tasting and food pairing review number 122. Before I get to today's whiskey, just a reminder that in the notes just below the video I have got a summary of my tasting notes and food pairing recommendations, as well as a list of other Whiskey Tube channels, and I am inviting you to have a look at them. I have subscribed to all of them and maybe you want to subscribe to some of those channels as well. Today's whiskey is the Octave Girvan 2007 single grain whiskey. I have decided to do a short series on single grain whiskey. So I've got a Scotch single grain, and then I'm going to do two Japanese single grains and then an Irish single grain. So 4 single grain whiskies in this series. And I think it'll be interesting to compare and to see what are the differences between Scotch, Japanese and Irish single grains. But today's whiskey, the Scotch single grain from the Girvan Distillery. It's always interesting for me, the pronunciation of the Scottish distillery names. Being Afrikaans here in South Africa, I would tend to say Girvan. But I did a bit of research and apparently you pronounce it Girvan. So this whiskey from the Girvan Distillery. The Girvan Distillery, I've got a picture here, that's what it looks like. Girvan Distillery, it is on the west coast of the Lowland region of Scotland. Girvan Distillery. It was founded in 1963, the same year that I was born in 1963, and it's owned by William Grant and Sons. I'm going to show you on the Scotland map. There we have the Highland and the Lowland. And then on the west coast here of the Lowland, that's where the Girvan Distillery is situated. Girvan Distillery in the Lowland region of Scotland. So this whiskey distilled at that distillery but bottled by Duncan Taylor. So it says here on the gift box, I'm just going to show you the information there. It's a very nice gift box, opens up like this. There we go. And it says here, a product of Scotland, distilled at the Girvan Distillery in 2007, single cask Scotch whisky, single grain Scotch whisky, aged for 9 years in oak casks, cask number 2111449. It's grain, but it was also matured in octave casks for 9 months. Now, an octave cask is a cask that is an eighth of a normal size cask. So you're looking at a sherry cask, normally around 500 liters, I think, and that is an octave cask, which is an eighth of the size, and that is why you have an 8 here in this graphic. You can see if you turn it like that, an 8. So it was matured for an extra 9 months in this very small cask. Bottle number 1 of 102, and the year that it was bottled, 2016. 750 milliliters and 51.7 alcohol by volume. A cask strength single grain whiskey from Scotland. The reason why Duncan Taylor matures the Octave range in this small cask is because it increases the spirit wood contact, and when that happens it expands the character of the whiskey, resulting in a bigger, bolder, multi-dimensional whiskey. So I'm very excited and very interested to share my findings about this single grain whiskey from Scotland. bottled by independent bottlers Duncan Taylor. They have been around since 1938. There you can see the color, a beautiful, almost an amber, light, a very light amber color. And it's probably because of the Octave sherry casks. So they take a normal sherry cask and then they reconstruct. So you've got normal ex-bourbon casks here for 9 years and then 9 months, very small sherry cask. Interesting. Grain sweetness. But it's different than the usual grain. Yo, it's slightly different. It's like it's grain sweetness but with a darker element to it. A little bit lively on the alcohol, but that is understandable. 51.7%. And then there's some fruits. Pears, peaches, apricots, stone fruits. A little bit of citrus, peel, vanilla. And then that hint of dark fruits or sherry in the background. This is probably the most interesting single grain nose that I have experienced. So far, very, very good. On the palate, wow, my initial impression is it's like syrup. Thick and creamy with fruity apricot, stone fruits, almost like apricot jam. And I think that's what it says on the box here. So there I agree, apricot jam. But there's also a bit of grapefruit and a little bit of grapefruit bitterness. And then there's a creamy vanilla. Sure. Hints of sherry. The finish is warm. It's a long finish. Sweet vanilla and stone fruits, oak spices in the finish. But what I'm getting most is, and I think it says that there on the box, gift box as well, the madeira cake with lemon zest. That is quite prominent in this whiskey. And I think that is a good way to summarize what I'm experiencing here. Madeira cake and vanilla. It's almost like Madeira cake and vanilla custard. So I'm adding about a teaspoon of water to this 51.7%. Let's see what happens. Girvan Madeira cake, like a sponge cake with citrus and lemon juice drizzled over it. You see now it's even more prominent, the vanilla and the lemon zest. The stone fruits are now a little bit in the background. This is phenomenal. Soft and creamy. This is one of my favorite single grains, if not the favorite that I have tasted so far. It was bottled for the bottle shop in Johannesburg, South Africa. Only, what did it say? Just a few bottles from that Octave cask. So it's not available worldwide. 102 bottles. But I think the concept is very important, the Octave concept by Duncan Taylor, because they do a whole range of bottlings from different distilleries. So one can get hold of the other bottlings internationally, I would think. A little bit expensive, 1,000 Rand, but the experience and the uniqueness makes it absolutely worthwhile. So if you want to pair this rich, creamy, thick, single grain whiskey matured in ex-bourbon and ex-sherry cask with a lovely vanilla and citrus and almost a sherry flavor to it, then I would recommend that you connect with the citrus flavors with something like lemon fingers, peach pie with vanilla custard. That'll connect to the stone fruit flavors. Apricot nougat will connect to the stone fruit flavors. If I think of a savory dish, then I've got a feeling like that a creamy chicken dish will work extremely well. But I decided I'm going to go with the madeira option. This is the packaging madeira cake loaf. So I cut a small piece of the madeira cake loaf and I've added a spoon of custard, and I'm going to try that with the lovely lemon citrus notes in this madeira cake loaf and a little bit of vanilla custard. Wonderful, creamy, hint of lemon. Just one word, delightful. Absolutely delightful. This is a highlight for me. One of my highlight whiskies of this month so far. Thank you for watching. I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow when I'll be doing one of the Japanese single grains. And I'm going to do a bit of a comparison. See you then. Slàinte.